G'day, hi, and welcome.
Missy.
Too hot for you, eh? That's what a fricassee cat looks at 34 degrees in the afternoon. It is now a little after 5, I think. Alright guys, the replacement for the road rage van. The assessment tells me. Well, I went underneath it with the hammer. I called Kelly's Auto Parts and asked them a few questions on the parts I'm going to need just to keep this thing alive. And it looks like, well, the executive decision had to be made. It's resurrection time, guys. The road rage van isn't done yet. It needs a lot of work, there is no doubt about that. The assessment I made is for $1,500, roughly. I'm ballparking high, of course. And, you know, factoring in the Murphy stuff that I'm probably going to find that I didn't know it needed. It's $165 to renew the plate. The insurance is probably going to be like 80, 100 bucks, whatever, to put it on the road. But I don't have to worry about the insurance until I go to put it on the road. So work starts tomorrow. This sucker's going to be, I went under it with the ball and peen hammer. I smacked the crap out of it. The worst rust is in the doors. If I can nip that in the bud and oil spray it and do all that stuff, maybe I'll get another 2 years out of it. Maybe not. But the engine, the dash came back on, just so you know. I started cleaning around the inside, and I don't know what wire. I got to get a manual. I'm going to have to get some stuff for it. I have to get rear tires. The front tires are virtually brand new. I mean, they're one season on them. So I mean, like they're still good, you know. So I got to see if it was my rotors, most likely. My calipers, I priced out calipers, rotors, wheel bearings just in case. But I'll see what I can, you know, tie rod ends. So I'm looking at about $500-600 in the front end, maybe 7 or 8, who knows. That's doing the work myself. The muffler, I priced out a Cadillac. I thought it was a Cadillac converter, but it's not. The Cadillac converters, it's up in the front. I thought this thing has 2 mufflers on it. There's a muffler there, and then the big beast with the big hole in it is over here. And that looks like that was brazed on, so I'll have to cut that off, and I don't know how I'm going to put on the new one, but it's $100 for the new one. 90 something, so about $100. Yeah, it's got to be cut off, and who knows. But the pipe, I smacked the pipe. I was smacking it with the ball and peen hammer, and it seemed that it was okay. So yeah, I guess the inside of the doors, the worst part of rust on the entire vehicle is like here, this here. But I can make it live. Heck, I'll epoxy it if I have to, just as long as it doesn't rust anymore. So I'm going to have to go get some parts. Going to have to get some wire wheels, stuff like that. The big thing is that the leaf spring, all that structure stuff seemed to be okay. It's really bad. It just looks really bad. The rear rotors, I don't know how bad they are, but they're not doing anything funky. So, but this one is probably done for sure. These calipers, they have seen much better days. So I'm going to jack it up, and I mean, I'm pretty sure that rotor's toast anyway. But whether it is, whether it isn't, it looks like I'm going to be doing some parts replacement. I mean, the struts are fine. I mean, there's really, the inside of the wheel wells are still good. Like, I mean, that part's good. Really, the rust is just right there on the edges. I was even smacking the inside of the like on the frame and stuff like, yeah, where you jack it up, the hard points, the jack points, yeah, they're a little bit soft, but the actual frame itself was fine. I was smacking it with a hammer. I mean, it's probably going to live for at least 2 years. So for $1,500, can I buy a decent vehicle for $1,500? Absolutely. Can I find a decent vehicle for $1,500? Unicorn. So that's where I'm at, because I don't have the money on hand anyway. So it's kind of, the goal is going to kind of resort to what it was before, where I'll keep this on the road until I can save up enough money for something newer. It's the rust, like inside the hood is fine. Like there's The rust, yeah, the floor has rust in it, but it's not through the floor. It's still pretty structurally strong. So if I were to oil spray it today, I might be good. But if I take the next 2 months to get her going, I mean, again, I got to go with my. This is a very expensive month for me. I just, ended up with an extra $165 bill that I wasn't really ready to pay for, but that's the cost of. And again, it could be a $165 gamble and a loss. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same thing I did with my beautiful bike, which I'm debating whether to take out for a ride. It's like still 35 degrees now. It's like I want to go to the lake, jump in the lake, but I don't even feel like doing that. So, I mean, I took this thing apart. It took me 10 days. Now it runs a little bit better. Just doing some probably maintenance that has probably never been done on it. And that's just routine stuff. And this thing is pretty prestige. But I still need to get new plugs for that. So I need maintenance parts for that stuff. Plus I got to consider how to get the insurance on this next year. So I got money for 2 projects. Well, the bike is fine. The bike runs fine for now. This is the cheaper thing to keep on the road, obviously, but it needs a lot of parts and stuff like that in the front end. So, plus it still needs the windshield. So, for $1,500, it's about $400 for the windshield. We'll say the exhaust is $100. 2 rotors, $60 a piece. 2 brake calipers, $75 a piece. 2 wheel bearings, if I have to, $100 a piece. I might not have to. Like, the thing drives fine until you touch the brakes, so I probably don't have to do that yet. Hopefully not. I don't know when they were last done. The brake shoes, or brake pads, are basically $30 a piece-ish. Something like that. Now, if I need tie rod ends, about $30-40 a tie rod end. If I need a U-joint, that could be like $100. So you can see how quickly the things can add up. The big one is if I can get this thing, the Angry Panther sound, quiet down, turn it into a kitten, not the big roaring beast that it is right now, so that it doesn't draw attention. Maybe I can get away with, the windshield. But my problem is the windshield is what's going to get me the 48-hour. But the thing is, if they do a roadside safety on this thing, yeah, the DOT stuff will work. But if they look at it structurally, then it may not work. They'll say, oh, well, you got to, because of that hole there, But it's not as bad as other vehicles on the road. But that's the assessment. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically just pull it apart, clean it up, assess everything, like the same way you would assess your cat. Like right now, you would assess your cat as lick my finger. That's how you assess your cat. Cat's not in assess mode. She's like, it's too freaking hot, man. You take that finger and stuck it where, You're my girl, my missy girl. And yeah, that's you work for my affection. Anyway, work for it. So anyway, the bottom line is I'll save up the money, and let's say as I'm saving up money for parts, like I just gotta like get the piece of my clipboard out. When my clipboard comes out, the shit just got real, right? So I gotta get the clipboard out, pull the entire thing apart. That well, not an entire thing apart, but pull it apart enough to it needs this, it needs this. While it's apart, just save up, buy everything. I'm not going to do one part at a time type stuff, because by the time do it all at once, But it's one of those things. I have it. It's bought. It's paid for. It's still. My dad told me, he says, I had a hunch you were going to put it back on the road, so he didn't take the plate off of it last winter, and maybe also too, being my mom's last van, maybe that was part of it as well. But if I could save up and do the noisiest things first, i.e. the muffler, that's an easy fix, but I can't drive it in the condition it's in. It's just, at 50 kilometers or 80 miles an hour, 80 kilometers an hour, 50 miles an hour, when you touch the pedal on this thing, it's just like, it will scare the shit out of you. And it does appear to be coming from this side. And I did do the other rotor a couple of years ago, so most likely is this, but I'm probably going to have to do the both of them again anyway. The calipers, I'm pretty sure, I mean, this is a 16-year-old vehicle, people. It actually should be in worse condition than it actually is. But it's the rust. That's why I never put the money into it, because it's the rust, right? So it's a loss. No matter what I put into it, it's a loss in that sense. But if it gets me down the road for another couple of years, it's the cost of doing business. You want to play, you got to pay. So we'll know by Monday whether this thing, the final deal is that when my dad goes to renew the plate, to say, oh, okay, no, well, it's no longer, safetied. You have to re-safety. Well, then that's it. The decision's made for me, because this will never pass the safety. But it runs good. I ran the engine up today, and I revved it to, and just held the pedal at 2,000 RPM, 3,000 RPM, whatever, and it doesn't even miss it. Like it needs a tune-up, but it doesn't need like a timing tune-up. Like that area is probably fine. But while I have it apart, I'll clean the IACV valve, I'll clean the injectors, I'll clean the whatever. I didn't realize up until today, especially last year when I parked it over there, I figured the gas tank would be rotted out of it. But however, I realized today, first time I ever really looked, the sucker has a plastic gas tank. Nice. The one part on it that's probably, I mean, heck, I could probably, if it doesn't work out, I could probably just take that gas tank off and get like $200 or $300 for it, or $100 for it, whatever, recoup some of the money. The rims, I could, take those off and get $100 for them, and is what it is. So the road rage van will ride again. Definitely going to have to do something about the muffler. So the muffler's priority. But on top of that, the brake, whatever my braking issue is, that's the top priority. Then after that, it'll go muffler. Then after that, windshield. Then after that, the radiator, the leaky radiator, I'll just keep topping up with whatever. The $5 press stone that I get, basically recycled press. Yes, I run recycled press stone through this thing. I go to the garage and say, you got any recycled radiator fluid? Like, I have $5, and it's like, you might get a green jug, you might get a brown jug, it's always kind of like a mystery of what you're going to get. But it doesn't matter, because it doesn't stay in there long enough. But however, as long as you filter it before you put it in, so you keep the bugs out of it. The last batch I put in, I'm going to have to flush this radiator anyway. So I got to do everything. I got to do all the tune-up stuff. So I got myself into a big-ass project that I wasn't ready for, but any vehicle I've looked at that's $500 that I could afford right now is in worse condition than this thing. So it's kind of like, starting price for a vehicle without no rust on it is going to be probably around $3,000. Now, if I did everything that this thing needs, is probably about $4,000 worth of stuff, and even at that, it would still. Would I put $4,000 into this van? No. But $1,500. If you had to pay $1,500 a year for a vehicle, that you could live with that. You could actually do that. If you had to do, if $1,500 got you 2 years out of a vehicle, that's $750 a year for a vehicle. The way I look at it, if you got 5 years out of it, or 10 years out of it, an extra 10 years out of it, I don't think this thing is going to be on the road in 10 years down the road. You never know. By that time, it might be such a classic. You never know. Hey, wishful thinking, right? But the road rage van, the executive decision, the best thing to replace the road rage van is a clean and updated, maintained road rage van. That's going to be weird. That's going to be weird, actually putting money into this thing. And the only thing I've put into it so far was a new light bulb, battery, winter tires, and a rotor. That's the only thing I've put into this van since I bought it. And lots of gasoline and $5 antifreeze. And topping up the leaky power steering fluid. And topping. Anyway, yeah. So the assessment will continue. Work starts tomorrow. I'll jack it up. This is my work bay right here. So I'm gonna basically get that all jacked up. I'm gonna start with this side because my hunch is that rotor's done. Now I know you can get rotors respun, but is it even worth it? Probably like $30 to get the rotor spun. If it was like $10 a piece, okay, I'll try it. But $60 a rotor, you might as well do the rotors. But I'm going to see if I can revive the brake calipers first. But I'm pretty sure those brake calipers are done. Maybe they are, maybe they're not. There's one thing, there's a little channel in there that I'm going to try, and if that works, then okay. But even at that, I think the rotor's done on that side anyway. So this one might still be good, because it's one of those things that this might sound kind of crazy if I can pull it off. I don't think I can, but if I can, if I was able to take off, I can't actually. One way to do it would be to bypass the other brake and just see what it's like with one brake, if this thing shimmies or whatever. And if it doesn't shimmy on this side, then that rotor's still good. I don't know, I'll have to... the other thing, my other thought was take the rear rotors and put them on the front, because they're not giving me any trouble, and maybe the back one's okay, well, whatever. Yeah, this is all disc. Yeah, I got the Sport van. Remember, this is the Grand Caravan. Okay, where is it? Sports. Hence why it's 165 freaking bucks for the stupid plate, because it said Sport on it. This is not a freaking sport vehicle. It's a freaking soccer mom van. It's an awesome van, but still. If it was the Grand Caravan Tour, it'd probably be, $30 for the plate, because it says Sport on it. They got you coming in, they got you going out. So this is going to be where I'm going to start tomorrow. Hopefully those wheel nuts don't give me the problems they gave me the last time. But, can't be that lucky. So that's the executive decision. The road rage van will be resurrected. Angrier, madder, and more ragier than ever. There we go. Make sure you hit that like button. And, yeah. There we go. The road rage van rides again. Have a great day, eh?